So, hi, friend. My name is Tapi Mukona from Modern Marketing. So, what we do, we basically cover news on products, technology, and campaigns across the marketing and branding industries. And welcome to our Modern Marketing Online Industry Interview segment. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Fran Luckin. I am Chief Creative Officer of Grey Africa, and I have just found out I'm going to be the Loeries Chairperson for 2021. So really exciting.
All right. So, what would your responsibilities as a chairperson of the Loeries board entail?
I think that you are asked to bring your particular passion and a particular, I think a particular cause to the party. So the Loeries board, it's a great board. There's lots of really capable people. So that the role of the chairperson is, it's always a person from the creative circle, which is the organization of creative leaders. And I think the purpose is to represent, creative leaders, but also to bring my own kind of emphasis on a cause or a passion. So for Suhana Gordon, it was about women in advertising. With Sediso, transformations. So, it's really about being a flag bearer for something that we want the Loeries to stand for or to believe in.
Okay, have you figured what your theme will be, or you're working around it, or do you have an idea of where you want to go?
So I want to build on what people have done before me. So, Suhana has done such great work with Open Chair, which was, it had the emphasis on women, increasing the access of women to female leaders. So I want to build on that because, I don't want to reinvent. So I'd love to build on that. And then also, I think I'm coming into this role at an interesting time where, the whole pandemic, it's terrifying, but it's also created new opportunities. And perhaps, we can broaden the reach of the Loeries now that we are moving into a more virtual platform. Perhaps there's a way to bring people in. So my thing is really just about how can we bring more people into the industry, women, but also, just people from different backgrounds that we might have been missing. There's so much talent out there that doesn't live within 5 kilometers of Sandton. Now that we are using virtual platforms more, can we extend our inclusiveness to include people who may not have, who may not live within 5 kilometers of Sandton? Yes. How can we use this opportunity to increase our reach and to bring a wider range of people in?
Oh, okay. So just from a personal perspective and from where you are from and how you got into the industry, could you please let us know why you got and how you got into the advertising industry in the first place?
Well, I was always very good at writing like stories. I always wrote, like, even when I was quite a young kid, I would write stories, and I was always good at that. And I always liked English. I loved to read. And it was kind of the thing I was best at. And then I did speech and drama at university, and I was good at that. And that's been really helpful in learning how to write dialogue and things like that. And I think when I found out that you could make a living by writing, doing creative writing, I thought, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then when I was in matric, I went to an ad agency to spend a day there, and it just felt like home. It felt wonderful. It felt so exciting. So, when I was in my honors year at university, the AAA came around to the campus and they were talking about this school. And so that's when I went to the AAA and I got a job from there. And I don't think I ever really thought I was going to get employed. I wasn't the best writer in my class. I honestly didn't think anyone was going to give me a job, but they did. So that was great. And it's just been, I've had great mentors and people who've kind of taught me so much. So it's been really great. I honestly almost kind of fell into advertising because I didn't know what else I was going to do. I was going to become an English lecturer, and then I kind of, after 4 years of university, I was so tired of it. Not tired of it, but I needed something new. So I kind of fell into advertising. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Oh, okay. So just take us through your career positions, your highlights, where you started and then climbing up the ladder.
so I started at the Jupiter Drawing Room. They had apprenticeships. So
Oh,
you joined there, yeah. You joined as an apprentice for a year, and then it was kind of like an internship, and that was lots of fun because it was a very small agency then.
mm,
And Graham Warsock taught me a lot about writing, and I think we worked late. Like I never went home before 10 o'clock, but that was just because it was such fun at the office.
oh,
And then I went to TBWA. It was Hunter Scaris, and that was an intense few years. But I just learned so much, and I made lots of TV, which was really useful. And there were lots of like great women leaders there. So there was Sandy DeWitt. There were lots of really talented female leaders there, and I kind of learned from them. Sue Anderson was there. Yeah, so that was a really good experience, and I made a lot of work. And then I went to Ogilvy from there, and I was a creative director at Hunter Scaris, and then I went to Ogilvy as a creative director under Jerry Human,
mm,
and then I became ECD there when Jerry left, and that was hectic, but it was great.
okay.
And I was there for 10 years, and then I went to digital. So I joined Quirk because I wanted to learn about digital advertising.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite a big move because it was a much smaller agency, but it was really interesting. I learned a lot. And I think it was important because I think, digital advertising didn't really exist when I went into the industry. So I had to
Mm,
learn about it. Not like everybody who grew up with Instagram, like I had to learn.
yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah. I was there for just under 3 years, and then I went to Grey. So I've been at Grey ever since, and I'm Chief Creative Officer of Grey now. So yeah, that's
Oh,
been the trajectory.
oh, okay. That's great. So, looking at the Loeries, and now that you're the chairperson, just going back to that, how do you think the Loeries make a difference in the advertising, branding, marketing industry at large?
I think awards shows are important because they highlight excellence in a field and in a way that inspires younger people.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was very young in advertising, going to the Loeries and seeing all this amazing work, and it showed you what was possible. It helped you to learn what great work was. And like you also learn who's doing that great work. And, back then you couldn't follow them on social media, like when I was young in advertising, but now you can, and you've got much more access to people. So I think like the Loeries is important also because it highlights local work and work in the region. But I think award shows show you what can be done. They're inspiring, and people they innovate, and then they that work comes to the award show. Everybody sees it, and then everybody goes and kind of gets inspired to innovate as well. So I really think award shows are a driver of innovation because they show what can be done when you break the rules. And that not only inspires other people to break the rules, but it shows people new possibilities. It helps people to think about new possibilities.
Oh, great. So speaking about the type of work and the industry and looking at the pandemic and everything and the work that is put out this year, what do you think would be the most effective or campaigns that matter most for this year's award?
So it's an interesting one because I mean, there's going, you have to weigh up worthiness with great craft. So there will be a lot of work that is about the pandemic that is quite sort of worthy in that it has a noble end, but we have to always think about the craft and the originality.
Yes.
So the Loeries is first and foremost about originality and craft. And so like there was this joke that was going on social media about all the COVID ads are the same. They all have sad piano music, and they all have things like "in these unprecedented times,"
Yes.
and it's true. Like everything looked like that, and so the work that really stands out is work that is going to acknowledge the situation we're in, but somehow do it in a way that's fresh or deliver a tried and trusted message in a way that just breaks through because it's different. I also think, there's, some brands have taken a humorous approach, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So, there's some quite refreshing. The Chicken Licken have just done a really great ad,
Yes.
talking about, which is lovely because it's just made everyone laugh.
Yeah.
And Tyson Benny's great. So
He's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. And then there's been initiatives like the Savannah Virtual Comedy Bar, which was like, hey, comedians can't do stand-up in bars anymore, let's make a virtual one. But there's also just a way, so there's been some really nice fresh work coming out as well, because it's, so you're going to get the sad piano music, but then you're also going to get some really nice fresh work that people enjoy. And I think that work is going to break through from the clutter.
Okay, I guess that covers the question about your favorite campaigns then, unless you want to mention some that you've done in the past, that why you like those campaigns, and if you just want to add on to these ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of what I have seen. This year has been quite tricky because, we haven't been able to produce anything for a few months, but I do like the Chicken Licken, the Tyson Gabeni. Like, I think it's a lot of fun. Gray actually did the Savannah Virtual Comedy Bar, so I'm probably biased when I say that I like it, but I do like it. So I'm just gonna confess.
Yes.
And then I still love the Town Lodge radio that won all over the world last year. And I think that's an important piece of work because it was a Zulu and English radio campaign that won at Cannes, it won international, it won awards all over the world. So I think that was a very important piece of work. I like the work that Odd Number's doing for Game. I think it's quite, it's really fresh.
Yes.
So, I haven't seen that kind of work certainly for Game, ever. It's very rare to have that kind of retail. So yeah, and I think so Sanlam brings out interesting work quite often as well. And then there's of course the Power campaign, which was from Black River, the art exhibition, beautifully done. The one they did all the art exhibition.
Yes,
with the map.
Yes.
I mean, beautifully done, absolutely beautifully crafted, it's stunning. So I think that'll do well, as well, because I think just, beautifully achieved, nicely put together. So, yeah.
So, being part of the industry for such a huge chunk of your life, what industry-related trends have you noticed since you've been part of the industry? What changes are you seeing coming through as the years go by?
So listen, I joined the industry before, the internet was not a thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm older than the internet, right? I'm strictly speaking, probably not, but you know what I mean? So email started being a thing when I was at Jupiter, that's, so there was no social media, when I started in advertising. And in fact, until, I don't know, there wasn't social media, Facebook, I think 2007. So for a long part of my career, there was no digital, advertising. There was, I'm old enough to remember when Yahoo was the search engine, so I watched that. I've lived through the most phenomenal change in the world, where suddenly you had social media and, the way that you can just amplify campaigns now, and the way that you have to, be so aware of what's happening on social media. Before you'd make a TV ad, you'd put it out in the world, and then, maybe somebody would phone the ASA to complain or something, but that would be it. Now you can totally monitor it in real time,
Yes.
So that whole thing has been a cataclysmic change. And I think I'm also living through a really interesting and welcome phase in South African advertising, where we're becoming more South African. So I think for a long time, a lot of our advertising looked like it came from, Europe or America. Like, and now I think it's it's really ours. We've got our own voice. Like us, Town Lodge Radio again. That was South African through and through, and yet somebody living in South America could relate to like what it's like to go back and stay with your family and sleep in your old childhood bed, and so, and I said it this morning, but the odd number is the second on the creative rankings in South Africa. It's number 2 on the creative rankings now. That's huge. It's a black startup agency. You know what I mean? Like, and it's small if you consider this relative size compared to TBWA, which is number 1. So really, I think we're coming into our own as a country, like finding our voice, which I think is really great. So I've watched that happen, like greater diversity in creative departments, and the effect of that greater diversity. So different stories, better stories, more vibrant, because it's not, it's
as well.
Yeah, it's indisputable. Like the more diverse your creative department, the better the stories.
Because we relate better to what we know exactly. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So back to you. What are your hobbies, Fran? What do you like doing? What interesting things do you get up to when you're not actually at the office or creating magic?
So I love reading. I know that's a bit of a boring answer, but I do love reading. I don't read I read novels. I read like bad detective books, thrillers, like that sort of thing.
Oh.
And then I play the bass guitar. When I say I play, I'm learning the bass guitar.
Okay.
So I literally started like 4 or 5 years ago. Wow. I mean, I've always loved bass, and I've always loved it, and I've always can pick out the bass line in songs, and I just decided to learn, and so I got a teacher, and I really enjoy it. It really helps de-stress after a hard day. I love bass lines. I love that, like that thing. Yes. Yeah, my neighbors probably want to kill me, but it's fine. No one's complaining.
So what song has like the best bass sound, do you think, that you can just always mimic when you're just on your bass guitar?
Interestingly, Robert Palmer's "Addicted to Love" has a very cool bass line.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very cool. And then actually there's some reggae songs that have really interesting bass lines too, but they're quite fast. The tempo is quite fast. You wouldn't think, because you think reggae's laid back, but actually when you're trying to keep up on your bass, it's quite so and then like what else? Oh, Maroon 5, what is that one? This Love. Also pretty cool.
Yes. Yes.
It's got a groove, you know what I mean?
Like I can hear it. Yeah. Oh, wow.
So, it's actually amazing once you start learning how, like, the bass is like the bone structure underneath. And once you start listening to it and you realize that the song is much more interesting than you thought, because, it's really, like, interesting intellectually as well,
Yeah. All right, Fran, that's all we have for today. Thank you very much for taking the time out to join us and take us through. And good luck with your career and being chairperson of the Loeries. I trust that you will do well.
I hope so. I'll do my best. Thank you so much. It was lovely to meet you. And I'm like, sorry it's over. I was really enjoying it.
I was too. All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have yourself a good night. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.